G.M.B lore speedrun. 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, so in the beginning of time, the royal spanker, who's the god of everything, got very bored and decided to have the idea to create a universe with his bare hands. So he spanked the universe into existence, creating three other gods, being Ultima, Space Dad, and the Red Star. Space Dad was the god of space and all elements, both elemental and scientific. Ultima was the god of reality, physics, primordial death, and winter. And the Red Star was the god of life and time, and was the only one of the three that was worshipped. Uh, the Red Star had his side of the universe, while Space Dad had his side of the universe. Space Dad had the great idea to fuck a planet, having three children with it, being Endy, Seven, and Arthur Midas. Space Dad brainwashed Arthur Midas into killing Seven. He did that. He shattered his soul across space and time and sealed his soul away into irony, a legendary weapon. Seven created Bean Boy in the afterlife, kind of like his persona and his successor. Arthur Midas actually adopted Bean Boy, and Endy actually took the world over. So Bean Boy and Arthur Midas decided to go against Endy and his henchmen. No one was successful as Space Ed actually killed everything and everyone in that universe just because, I don't know, he felt like it, okay? So he did that, and while that was going on, the Red Star was being worshipped, but this guy named Orum, who gets more important later, explains that life is imperfect. The life the Red Star has made is imperfect, and he should retry. So he does that. He goes and wipes out all life in the entire universe. And the three divine kings who were made by Spanker catch wind of this. But he kills them all pretty quickly. But they had a trick up their sleeves. Alongside the Spanker, they actually created a robot to seal the Red Star away. He did that, but he also accidentally sucked up the entire universe. He was confused, and since the universe was in such a small, minute, compact space in his chest cavity, it actually all exploded out of him, creating the Big Bang. And bam, this is now the second flip side. Meanwhile, Ultima was actually killing other gods. He killed like 90% of the other gods. Because he's the god of primordial death, gets more important later. Much later, the second flip side, Baby Jaguar lives in this little town here, slash village, gets destroyed by Virgil. Hayden, who's another main character, follows his two siblings into the overworld. He's a demon born in hell. He comes across Baby Jaguar, and they actually become pretty good buddies. Now, Bean Boy actually kind of just teleports in out of nowhere after somehow surviving the destruction of two universes. And Quaggy, who's another main character, lives on this island named the Lowland. It somehow gets destroyed and he dies, but Hudbot saves him and infuses him with axolotl DNA, saving his life. Okay, Baby Jaguar and Quaggy are actually have a father-son relationship, and Baby Jaguar goes on to creating the walls. These are the walls. They look like this. This is where they lived. Hudbot created a military base. This is where he lived. Quaggy and Bean Boy were also a part of the Hudbot's military. There was a small little dispute, and Kermit came out on top and became the president of the walls. Several days later, the Forgotten King showed up. He was just kind of a bad guy. Bad to be bad. You know, he's just a first generic kind of villain, I guess. He comes, terrorizes the G.M.B, but, you know, they destroy him. All is good until Space Dad actually shows up to, you know, kill all of these guys. They go up against Space Dad, but stand no chance. They get destroyed, but they get pretty lucky as a fourth Divine King, Ultima, and Spanker all show up, and they all gangbang Space Dad, okay? They lock him up away in a prison Hudbot made called, frickin' RuneScape. But Hudbot gets kind of old and he kind of breaks down, and the Red Star actually escapes, leaving Hudbot without sentience. His buddies show up and are like, "Oh no, that's bad!" So they go and fight the Red Star. They bring Hudbot along, and he, you know, does what he was made to do and sucks him back up, but also ends up destroying himself, and he seals himself and the Red Star both away in the Dream Realm. Yeah. So what happens is they go to the three divine churches of the divine kings, and their souls, the souls of the divine kings, give them the dream armor, allowing them to dream hop and fight the Red Star. These guys actually die a lot, but since they're in the dream realm, they have unlimited tries and just keep coming back to life. They eventually kind of beat the Red Star, and they make a deal that the Red Star will be set free, but Hudbot will get a soul back and come back to life. They make the deal. Hudbot comes back to life. It's awesome. Now, this character named Serene starts showing up after this. She's not crazy important, and she isn't necessarily a threat just yet, and she kind of just watches, observes, and talks to the heroes. Ultima is now getting kind of fed up with these heroes as they're intervening with the gods a little too much, so he sends his army out to, kill them. But they defeat the army and they go on to fight Ultima himself. Um, but he pulls out his dragon and his dragon beats him up. They fight him a little bit more, and his armor actually melts away, revealing he's a bit of a baddie, and they kind of defeat him, but not really, and he leaves his sword, the Ultima, behind. The sword allows gods to bleed, like if it can cut a god and it will hurt them, basically. They take this weapon, but can't use it as it's too powerful. 3 weeks later, apparently, this is supposed to be Orum. This is just a placeholder, I forgot to but he makes a deal with Baby Jaguar that he will keep the town safe, but Baby Jaguar kind of goes insane. Um, Baby Jaguar will keep the town safe from gods. What's the deal? Baby Jaguar, now insane, kind of tries to go and fight his friends. Hayden tries to snap him out of it. All doesn't go well, and he gets his arm absolutely mauled. Hudbot makes him a new mechanical arm, infused with the Red Star's power. But this arm actually takes Hayden over because it's the Red Star's power and becomes a sentient being of its own, and now it's like a ghost. It cannot take a physical form. So because it can't take a physical form, and it's as powerful as the Red Star, basically, it decides to start resetting the universe over and over again until it finds a timeline that it can create a physical form for itself, which it eventually does end up doing. It keeps resetting time back just a little bit, so these guys are all still alive. So they end up fighting this guy. They fight him. This is Izanagi, that is his name. They fight him, they defeat him, but I'm not sure if they knew it at the time or not, but it was actually technically also Hayden, and they had to kill him to, save the universe, basically. Anyways, they go back to town and find that the Red Star is there. Beam Boy stands up against him, but gets his sword, Irony, destroyed. The other gods show up. Ultima, I guess, was surprised by this, and since he does not like his siblings or other gods, he decides to fight them. They all kind of start duking it out, and it creates a unstable black hole that sends these three, aside from Hudbot, into a completely different dimension. These three fuck off. Now they are in the Goblin universe. They spend about 5 years here living a happy life until they eventually find a cave where they find the Goblin King. They defeat him pretty easily and find a portal. They go through and realize that 200 years had actually passed in the G.M.B walls, so there was some time dilation with the universes there. This side of the universe is actually very radioactive. So Hudbot goes down, shows him a project he's been making called Vendetta, bioweapon, but it doesn't go very well, and it escapes. He has a plan and shows them his second project he's been making called the Anti-God Machine, which, pretty self-obvious what it does. It's supposed to kill the gods. They use it on Vendetta, and it's a bit overkill. Kill it pretty easily with it. But these three, since they get pretty sick from Vendetta, actually, as it's a bioweapon, Hudbot is able to somewhat cure them, but they are forever weakened from this virus. They then return the favor and find Hudbot some powerful batteries / energy sources that will allow him to not be so old and rusty. Anyways, Kermit and Hudbot reveal that there is a new town named the Farlands, that they have a mayor set up there and a few buildings already built. They go to the Farlands, they meet Phoenix, and they get situated. They start building up the town, all is good, and this guy named Caliber shows up and joins the party. Anyways, after some time, Ignatius finally catches wind of this town and sends his army out. Ignatius is actually the brother to Phoenix, and they don't like each other very much, as Phoenix has firebending powers, except he can't use them very efficiently as he gets harmed whenever he uses his own magic, and Ignatius views him as lesser because of this. Phoenix and Ignatius are part of a race called Apollonians. They destroy Ignatius' army, but Ignatius actually defeats Phoenix and holds him hostage, and becomes the ruler of the Farlands. Hudbot takes him down to his secret lab, where he reveals he made an anti-Apollyon potion type thing. They go and use it on Ignatius, he gets 360 no-scope and gets killed, and then they find a part of Beam Boy's weapon, which they can use to help defeat the gods much later on, so they have 1 out of 7 shards of it now. Kermit then shows up and shows him a project he's been working on called the Perfect Life Form, which analyzes battle data. However, it's pretty undercooked and gets defeated. Now they have a second shard. It's powered by a shard. 4 to 6 weeks later, while suddenly warping through space and time, Gabriel appears. He is the right-hand man to that Orum guy. Tells them that they have about a few years until Orum's is going to flat out reset the universe, and that he's going to stop them now, so, they can't intervene with his plans later. So, they try to stop him and actually succeed. They don't kill him, but he does drop a key, a very special apple that can bring people back to life under specific circumstances. They never use this, and a third shard of irony. Several days later, they actually use this key on this temple. They go down because they find out there are some shards down there. They go down, find this zombie thing, infused with some weird power, but they're able to defeat it. After it was defeated, they realized the zombie was actually a warrior back in the day that infused itself with some shards in order to create a force field around anything around the temple because they wanted it to be safe from evil gods. So this field drops because he was killed. They now have 2 shards. Now that the force field is dropped, the Red Star is able to enter the town finally, and he just flat out kills Hudbot. He tells the heroes that if they collect any more shards, it will break Beanie's limbs. He will break Beanie Boy's limbs. They have a funeral for Hudbot, very sad. This guy named Jerry now joins the party. He's an alchemist, has jars. He's pretty cool. He made a deal that we'll get back to later. Now, this guy named Ragazzo shows up and kind of just messes with the heroes for a little bit. He's a bit of an oddball, but, they fend him off. They don't kill him or anything. He's important later. Anyways, Caliber now reveals that he was actually Ultima all along and just wanted his weapon back that they stole from him. He's actually going to now defeat the heroes, but Baby Jaguar stands up and gets beaten up. Spanker then shows up and actually saves the day, fends Ultima off, and all is good. This new guy named Artorias now joins the party. I don't know a crazy amount about him, but he is pretty cool. They then go to Jerry's hometown named Bottleburg, as it's under attack, and Jerry, wants to save his hometown. This guy named Edgar shows up and reveals that he's kind of the guy terrorizing the place. Bean Boy shoots him, and he drops a shard of irony, and he turns out to be a pretty chill guy, I guess. Several days later, Bean Boy's chilling at his house until he gets a knock on his door. It's a mysterious package, and it's Quaggy. He comes in, but then gets gutted by Space Dad. He is then dead, and Space Dad leaves, and Bean Boy's sad, and Quaggy is now dead. Okay? Quaggy dies, they have a funeral, very sad. Serene then, is talking to the heroes and tells them that she finds it very annoying because she believes that they are the ones that created this whole war against the gods and that it's their fault. None of this would be happening if it wasn't for them, is what she believes. So, they go and fight her and defeat her, Later, they wake up to this guy who's inside the Temple of Irony and he's stolen the 6 shards. He then puts the heroes to sleep, locks them up in a cage, not a cage, a prison underground. They manage to escape and they fight this weird monster thing. It's quite tough as it's infused with 7 shards of irony, but after its defeat, it drops all 7, and they finally are able to reconstruct the blade. But it's quite odd as the blade looks pretty dinky and old, like it just doesn't look all that powerful. The blade actually speaks and tells the Bean Boy that they need to go to Lean Bean Island to get the last piece. So they go there, and actually the Soul of 7 shows up. They have a little sparring match, and he hands over the eye. They're finally able to construct the true blade, and now they're able to fight the gods properly. Later, this goblin guy shows up, who steals the blade, and, it's the Goblin King. They then fight the Goblin King, defeat the Goblin King, get the sword, epic. 4 to 6 more days later, the Red Star shows up and breaks all of Bean Boy's limbs. He just beats the fuck out of them. It doesn't show it here, but Bean Boy is basically on the verge of death. They take him to the Sword of Irony, where 7 heals him up. It takes a few weeks, few months. Now the Armageddon, few months, few weeks later. Bean Boy is all healed up, however, he is now much less confident than he used to be. They fight Ultima's army. They go fight Ultima, and they defeat him weirdly easily. It's kind of weird. Anyways, Artorias kind of just screws off. They go back to Ultima's castle for some reason, where Space Dad is there. He tries to ambush them, but Hayden comes out of nowhere and saves them. Frick you, Space Dad says, and it is revealed that Hayden made a deal with, I think, the god of death / Satan, that he can, be alive for a certain period of time, to help his buddies out in the Armageddon, basically, I guess, right? Anyways, Space Dad shows up in the town now and gets his revenge on Hayden and kidnaps him. Kermit explains that him and Hotbot fix up the AGM. He shows them, and they actually go to fight Space Dad, save Hayden. They fight Space Dad, use the AGM on Space Dad, and actually, Space Dad destroys the AGM, but he gets destroyed himself. So the heroes actually win here. They make their way back and find this castle, where they actually find Ignatius, who's been revived by Space Dad. He just kind of reveals that he still hates Phoenix and stuff, but Phoenix beats the shit out of him. Ignatius tells him that he's, kind of impressed, and then he dies. Okay. Anyways, they go back to the town and find a portal where they find Space Dad, and he uses epic space cannon. They almost die, but they are actually able to defeat Space Dad for good as the Fourth Divine King shows up, and Phoenix unlocks some new blue fire powers, which are very powerful. Space Dad is properly defeated, and all is epic and all is good. They then go back to the town and find Serene, who's actually now alive and attacking the heroes, or wanting to attack the heroes. She goes away and they actually fight a little later, but then it's actually revealed that this is Ultima. Serene was the first god to commit the act of murder. She killed her brother, the sun god Heros, and Ultima killed her for it, and then just kind of, used her as a disguise, I guess, and he uses Purgatorium and wrecks the heroes, but actually they survive and return the favor and destroy him. It is revealed that Ultima actually just wanted a perfect world where there was no kind of pyramid. He just wanted everyone to be the same. He didn't want any presidents, no mayors, no gods. He just wanted everyone to be the same. Good motive, but he went a very terrible way of executing that plan. Anyways, they go back to the town and find these weird pillars, where Orum shows up and sends out his onslaught of his army. They spend about a day fighting this army. They fend it off, and Orum goes away, and his son Orum shows up, who's actually a good guy, and tells him to go to the Tomb of the Gods to find a special book that they can use to fend Orum off. They go down there, find the book, which actually explains that the Big Spank is false, and that it was actually Orum and Spanker together. Orum is the god of chaos / destruction, while Spanker is the god of order / creation, I suppose. So, they shook hands and made a deal that they would have a perfect universe with the perfect balance between chaos and order. However, Lux was a little fuck. That's his real name, Lux, not Spanker. Lux was a little fuck and intervened with this universe and created more than he should have. This made Orum mad, and now he's wanting to reset the universe and fix the balance. Orum is confused when they come back empty-handed, and then Hudbot actually comes back, but he is evil. He's been reconstructed by Orum, and explains that he wants him to come to dinner with him. They go to dinner to Orum. Hudbot's there, his right-hand man. Orum kind of explains what they learned in the Tomb of the Gods, and, how Lux is his brother and stuff. Anyways, so now Hudbot scares them away, and Orum tells them to go to the Forbidden Archives, which is a place with unlimited knowledge. They have to be quiet, as there is a archivist here who will get them if they're too loud. And they find a bunch of books, talking about, elemental gods that were killed by the Red Star, Space Dad's kids, stuff like that. But they find a book they're looking for eventually, which is a spell that will seal Orum away in the Dream Realm. However, Orum tells them that the spell will shatter the soul of whoever uses it, so he takes it so none of them will kill themselves. Basically, they go back to Orum's castle and fight his army again. They then fight Hudbot. Hudbot puts up a pretty good fight, but they are able to beat him. Hudbot comes back properly for a split second, and he tells Bean Boy to finish him off before he becomes evil again. He does so, and he is dead for good. Anyways, Orum now comes back, or not comes back, but they go fight Orum. Orum beats the fuck out of them, but then Daddy Lux shows up and saves them and gives them some powers, so actually now the tables turn a little bit. Orum's had enough and decides to reset the universe now that he finally can, but Orum shows up and shatters his own soul in order to seal Orum away in the Dream Realm. Very sad death. 4 to 6 weeks later, Ami, which is Orum's daughter, shows up to help out the heroes of the GMB. Kerbit explains that he's built a space station that will travel through space where the Red Star is, however, he doesn't know where he is and he doesn't have enough energy. The Fourth Divine King explains that they have to go to the Arcane Confinum. They go there, find the elemental gods, which the Red Star killed forever ago, and combine together, kind of reviving them. They're like a zombie amalgamation. They're also Space Dad's kids. They defeat them, and they explain how, they're grateful that they put them out of their misery and gives them his power so they can use it for the space station. Anyways, now they need to find where the Red Star actually is. So they go to Hudbot's military base to access his computer. Here they find out that Hudbot actually raised Phoenix. The Red Star destroyed Phoenix's home planet. Phoenix was sent out on a space pod, landed on this planet, and Hudbot's raised him since the age of like 3. Anyways, they find Hudbot's computer, access it, find the coordinates, and they go to liftoff, where they actually find out that the planet the Red Star is on is Phoenix's home planet. They explore this planet, they go to this circus they find Micturate here, the #1 fan of the Red Star. He's the Red Star's right-hand man, if I've explained that before. He just doesn't want them to get in the way of the Red Star's plans. Anyways, he actually takes over Bean Boy, and it's revealed that Bean Boy was Ragazzo this whole time. Anyways, so they duke it out and save Bean Boy from the clutches of Micturate, and they go onto this big fiery castle type thing. They fight an onslaught of enemies before they find a hatchet in the ground and go to an underground castle, which is where Phoenix used to live. They go through this castle and find Phoenix's dad, who really fucking hates Phoenix because he's viewed as weak upon the Apollons. Anyway, so he actually puts up a pretty good fight, but not good enough. They beat him. He's pretty proud of his son Phoenix for actually beating his old man in a fight. But the Red Star's gonna kill him now, since if he were to fail, then he dies. Anyways, Phoenix doesn't really care since his dad sucked. Anyways, they all fall asleep in the castle and wake up to find Jerry is missing. They find Jerry, who turns out Baby Jaguar is not the only one who made a deal with the god, and it's revealed that Jerry made a deal that if he were to get a book from the Red Star, he would be granted unlimited, well, not unlimited, but a great amount of power and knowledge of the jars and alchemy he makes for one small favor, and this favor turned out to be complete domination / control over his body / mind. Anyway, so they fight Jerry, who is now kind of under the influence of the Red Star. They defeat him and try to kill him with kindness type of thing. They eventually get through to him, and he is freed from the Red Star's clutches slightly. However, he's still slightly taken over. They go to the Totem of the Red Star, where they enter the Red Star's domain. They find out that, Red Star's definition of perfect life is a life form that can eternally satisfy him. They start duking it out. The Red Star destroys them. However, Eobor shows up to save the day like he did with Space Dad. However, things do not go as planned. So now he has all the blood of the Divine Kings, which equal the power of Spanker, basically. Not quite, but almost there. So now he is a much more powerful being than he was before, and now the most powerful on the GMB. However, he's not going to use these powers, since it wasn't part of his deal. Anyways, he now uses a piss bomb to destroy all of them. They all die and wake up in heaven. The Divine Kings explain that they can revive them and, make them stronger, make irony stronger. That's Bean Boy's weapon. So they do so and meet some old friends that have died along the way. Anyways, they spar the Divine Kings, they make them as powerful as Divine Kings, and beef up Bean Boy's sword. Anyways, they wake up and are revived to find that the planet was destroyed. The Red Star comes back, they duke it out one last time. And then, they're not really doing much, and Baby Jaguar explains that they need to destroy the Red Star's armor. So Baby Jaguar does that solo. It's a suicide mission, as the Red Star gets kind of angry and pieces Baby Jaguar up, shattering his soul. Anyways, so Baby Jaguar is now dead for good and does not exist anymore. Everyone is shocked and mortified, so they chase down the Red Star. Now that his armor is destroyed, they are able to actually pierce him. He is now, banned from this universe, I guess. It was part of the deal. If he was defeated, he can never come back to the universe. He made a deal with these guys. I forgot to explain that. If he was defeated, he can never come back to this universe. Anyway, so he does that, and the explosion from his defeat actually kills Bean Boy, sadly. It is very sad. The Red Star had 3 victims. They hop back up on Kermit's space station and fly back home. And actually, Hayden's contract is all done, and he is dragged back down to hell. 4 victims for this arc. It is all very sad, and this is actually where the story of the GMB comes to a close. They did defeat all the gods. They are now safe. The town is good. Everyone is safe, but, you know, good chunk of people died. I probably missed a few things and got a few things wrong, but, you know, oh well. Bye.